Denzel Washington says his success comes down to one core principle: unshakable discipline. But what if that discipline isn't just about grinding and working hard? What if it's a strategic weapon, so powerful that the prophet Nostradamus actually recorded it as a force that makes chaos recoil? This isn't a random theory, it's a blueprint. Nostradamus laid out 20 specific reasons why Capricorns are a direct threat to the forces of manipulation and deceit. And in this video, we're unlocking that blueprint, trait by trait, starting with the one that makes every liar and manipulator deeply uncomfortable. That discomfort you feel, that a manipulator feels, in the presence of a Capricorn, that's by design. The secret Nostradamus revealed wasn't some dusty spell. It was a blueprint wired straight into their nature, a fortress of 20 precise traits that locks into place as an unbreakable shield against chaos. And today, we're going to decode that fortress. Trait by trait, we'll count down these 20 prophecies, starting with the one that quietly holds up all the others. So let's dive in. Trait number 20. A Capricorn never forgets an agreement. Demons, the ones that feed on chaos and broken promises, hate dealing with someone who actually honors a contract. A Capricorn's commitment is absolute. Their sharp memory for deals, deadlines, and duties gives them leverage in situations where everyone else starts to slip. Just this simple habit of keeping their word wipes out a manipulator's favorite strategy at the root. Now, before we move on, I want to know who I'm talking to. Are you a Capricorn, or do you have one of these master strategists in your life? Drop your birth date in the comments below. I read everyone. I see the master strategists and the people who know them best gathering in the comments. Excellent. You're the ones who always come for the full blueprint, not the highlights reel. So let's get back into the wisdom Nostradamus unlocked. We start with the foundation of their power, trait number 20. A Capricorn never forgets a deal. Let that sink in for a second. All forces of chaos and manipulation feed on broken promises and shifting goalposts. That's their playground. When you never know what's real, they win. A Capricorn's word? It's an anchor in that storm. This isn't just about being honorable or nice. It's a strategic weapon. By keeping their end of any agreement with almost surgical precision, they shut down the manipulator's favorite tool, unpredictability. The other side can twist, flake, and distort. The Capricorn won't. Honestly, manipulators hate this. When the contract is absolute, there's no space left for deceit to slip through the cracks. Next, trait 19. The Capricorn climbs the mountain while demons are stuck spitting fire from below. This isn't just they're hardworking. It's cute, but it's not the point. This is a relentless, highly strategic ascent. While chaotic forces try to drag you down with noise, drama, and that symbolic fire, gossip, doubt, fear, the Capricorn just keeps climbing, eyes on the summit, step by step. They understand something most people never quite get. A shocking number of battles are won just by outlasting the opponent. Demons burn hot and fast. Capricorn burns steady and long. Their persistence lifts them to an altitude where the heat of chaos simply can't reach. The fire is still raging down there, but from where they're standing, it looks tiny. This takes us to a critical one. Trait 18. They master time and structure. Chaos needs a vacuum. It breeds in disorganization, missed deadlines, scattered energy, and that I'll do it later fog. Capricorn starves it completely. They build systems. They prioritize ruthlessly. They execute with discipline. Every scheduled task, every clear boundary, every organized plan becomes another fortress wall against disorder. You know this if you've ever worked with a Capricorn leader. You feel their calendar like gravity. Odds. As the Capricorn master craftsman Denzel Washington himself said, goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. He wasn't just dropping a motivational quote for your Pinterest board. He was handing you the operating manual for defeating chaos. Time and structure are not just tools for them. They're weapons. Now for trait 17, their ambition rewrites the script. A Capricorn's ambition is not some vague dream like, one day I want to be successful. No, it's a multi-stage campaign. It's a long-term strategy they are quietly running in the background all the time, while lesser forces expect people to react emotionally, to lash out, to crumble into predictable traps. The Capricorn is already 5 moves ahead, playing a different game entirely. They don't just respond to the board in front of them. They are willing to flip the entire board and design a new one if the old rules don't work. This kind of proactive surgical ambition is terrifying to any entity that survives by controlling the narrative, because deep down those chaotic forces know the truth. A Capricorn is fully capable of writing their own ending. And once someone can write their own ending, they're almost impossible to control. Finally, for this section, trait 16, Capricorns build while demons live in ruins. This is the ultimate opposition. Destruction is easy. Anyone can tear something down. Creation is slow, demanding, and deeply intentional. Demonic energy is entropic. It breaks things down, dissolves structures, and drags everything back toward chaos. Capricorn energy is the opposite. It's generative. It builds. They build careers. They build legacies. They build stable relationships, secure foundations, and long-term structures that actually hold weight. Every single act of creation, every project they carry all the way to completion, becomes another fortress of order that pushes back the borders of chaos. Let's be real. They don't just resist ruin. They make ruin irrelevant by building something too solid to be casually wrecked. Demons can scream and scratch at the walls, but those walls aren't coming down, so what we've just laid out is the foundational armor, the external defenses that make a Capricorn an absolute nightmare for manipulators and chaotic forces. These are the visible shields. But what we're about to uncover is far more potent. We're moving from the shield to the core power plant. We're going inside, into the psychological engine room, to understand how they construct an unshakable inner fortress. Starting with a resilience so cold, it literally freezes fear itself. Don't go anywhere. This cold resilience is the 15th reason Nostradamus documented. It's the quality that lets the sea goat walk through the harshest winter while demons can't find warmth beside a will of ice. And no, this isn't just basic toughness. It's deep, almost eerie, emotional fortitude. Manipulators who feed on fear and chaos quickly discover their usual tactics, bounce off a Capricorn. The panic they try to stir up simply freezes midair and shatters against this wall of cold, strategic calm. They're immune to fear-mongering. They're just operating on a different, much colder frequency. 14th, Capricorn keeps secrets like a sacred vault, while demons are exposed by silence. This isn't shyness, it's deliberate strategic information control. They know manipulators survive on data, your fears, your desires, your insecurities. So when a Capricorn volunteers nothing, you know they're starving the enemy of ammunition. Their silence becomes a weapon. It forces the opponent to start talking, to reveal their hand, to over-explain. And suddenly they're the one who's vulnerable, while Capricorn stays an unreadable fortress. Chaos can't slip in when there are absolutely no cracks. The 13th reason. Their quiet demeanor hides a spine of steel, and demons keep misreading that calm as weakness. They see the reserved exterior and assume they've found an easy target. Big mistake. Beneath that placid surface sits an unshakable resolve. When Capricorn finally moves, it isn't a messy, emotional reaction. It's calculated, decisive force that can rip straight through a manipulator's entire strategy. Their quiet isn't submission. It's the calm before a perfectly executed storm. 12th, they value legacy, while demons fear anything that still stands after the stroke of midnight. A Capricorn is always playing the long game. They're busy building empires, relationships, and reputations designed to outlast their own lifetime. That kind of long-term vision makes them completely immune to short-term temptations and chaotic disruptions the demons throw out as bait. Why would someone carefully architecting a cathedral get distracted by a fleeting firecracker? They can't be bought with momentary pleasure or thrown off course by temporary pain. Their eyes are locked on the horizon. And if you think building a legacy is powerful, the next trait is the very reason chaos can't even get a foothold to tear that legacy down. The 11th reason. When a Capricorn sets a boundary, even darkness hesitates to cross. This is not a negotiation, and it's definitely not a polite suggestion. It's a non-negotiable declaration of reality. Their no is absolute, backed by the full weight of their conviction and discipline. It's a line carved into stone, and manipulators who rely on pushing, bending, and breaking rules suddenly find themselves up against an immovable object. Their power source starts to dry up because their entire strategy depends on constant violation. Honestly, these last 5 traits form the unshakable walls of Capricorn's inner fortress. But the next 5 we're about to explore aren't just armor. They're weapons of integrity, built to actively dismantle deceit from the inside out. We begin with number 10, a trait that turns predictability into a genuinely terrifying force. That terrifying force, it's integrity. Trait number 10, Capricorns keep their word, and demons detest predictability. Think about it for a second. Let's be real. The currency of chaos is the broken promise, the lie, the last-minute betrayal. A demon's entire strategy feeds on instability, but your word, Capricorn, is a contract etched in stone. When you make a promise, you carve out a pocket of absolute certainty in a universe full of variables. That's more than reliability. That's a weapon. You shut down their entire game by refusing to play by their rules of deception. Your predictability becomes an unbreakable cage around forces that only know how to thrive in disorder. 9th, you rise with dignity. Demons feed on the fallen. They feast on despair, on self-pity, on weakness. But when you face a setback, you don't crumble. You feel the pain, sure, but you meet it with a quiet composure, a kind of stoic grace. That dignity becomes a shield they can't penetrate. By refusing to give them the dramatic collapse they crave, you starve them. They're left powerless in front of someone who meets failure not with a scream, but with a calm, stubborn resolve to stand back up. 8th, you play the long game while demons gamble on the moment. Dark forces operate on impulse, on temptation, on instant gratification. They throw shiny distractions and short-term crises at you, expecting a panicked reaction. They don't understand your timeline at all. If you're a Capricorn, you already know this. You're not thinking about next week. You're building a 10-year plan. Their momentary chaos is just a blip on your strategic radar. You can't be tricked by a fleeting temptation when your eyes are locked on a legacy. 7th, you respect rules, but you intervene when they fail. And this is a critical distinction. Demons love lawlessness, but they also love corrupt systems where rules are twisted to protect the unjust. You're not a blind follower. You understand the principle of order. So when the established rules turn into a shield for chaos or injustice, you become the arbiter. You step in not to break order, but to restore it. That makes you a force for true justice, something far more powerful and far more unpredictable than simple anarchy. Finally, trait number 6. You use failure as a launch pad. Demons fear transformation. When they strike, they expect a wound to fester. They don't expect you to drag that wound into the forge. For you, Capricorn, a failure is not an ending, it's the fire. A setback is the blacksmith's hammer. With every blow, every painful trial, you're not being broken, you're being tempered. The impurities burn away, and you emerge from the flames sharper, stronger, and more resilient than before. You turn their attack into your upgrade. These 5 traits are the weapons of integrity you wield in the outer world. But the greatest battles, they're not fought out there. So what happens when that weapon of integrity is turned inward? The next 5 traits don't just defend a fortress. They build an empire of self-mastery, so absolute that no demon would even dare knock on the gates. Because the ultimate war is always won from within. And now we step into the throne room of this empire of self-mastery. The battle isn't out there anymore. It's moved inward. These are the principles that turn a Capricorn soul into sovereign territory. The 5th reason demons fear you is this: you build an empire of self-mastery, while demons can only prey on souls that are left uncontrolled. Think about that for a second. Manipulation needs emotional volatility. Deception feeds on a lack of self-awareness. Chaos spreads where there is no inner control. The Capricorn actively cultivates discipline, focus, and real command over their own mind and emotions. Their soul isn't some chaotic marketplace where demons can set up shop. It's a fortified, well-governed kingdom. Your self-control is their starvation, literally. From that foundation we get the 4th reason. You bring order to your world, and you're the natural antidote to the chaos demons spread. And no, this isn't just about having a clean room. A Capricorn imposes structure onto reality itself. They take chaotic situations, dissonant energies, and confusing variables, and they forge them into a coherent strategy. Demons thrive in the fog of uncertainty. You are the lighthouse that cuts straight through it. Your very presence organizes the environment, leaving no shadows for them to hide in. This leads us to the 3rd most powerful reason. Your ambition needs no approval. This quiet, internal drive is immune to the games of intimidation and validation. Honestly, most people's ambition can be manipulated. It can be stoked with flattery or extinguished with fear. But a Capricorn's ambition is a cold, internal fire. They're not climbing the mountain for the applause of the crowd below. They're climbing it because the summit is on their map. This is exactly what makes them incorruptible. A demon cannot threaten someone who doesn't need their approval, and they cannot tempt someone whose goals are not for sale. These 3 traits together build an impenetrable fortress of the self. But now we arrive at the 2 reasons that Nostradamus himself marked in his prophecies as the most powerful. The absolute core of Capricorn's power, the one we've all been waiting for, is next. The 2nd most powerful reason on Nostradamus's list isn't an action. It's a fundamental state of being. It's that same ancient dark energy we spoke about earlier. Demons and every force of manipulation feed on insecurity. They need your doubt to stay alive, to keep working on you. But Capricorn carries a profound, unshakable sense of its own value. This isn't arrogance. Honestly, it's a clear, clinical inventory of their capabilities, their resilience, and their worth, taken on the inside and kept independent from anyone else's opinion. And here's the strategic truth. You cannot manipulate someone who doesn't need your validation. You cannot scare someone who has already counted their own strength and decided it's enough. This kind of self-knowledge is the ultimate power. It doesn't swing back or brawl with you. It just quietly erases every external attempt at control. Another person's judgment, their approval, their threats. All of it turns into foreign currency in the empire of your mind. It's there, but it has zero value. Knowing your value makes you immune. It becomes a shield that deflects the arrows of doubt before they can even get close enough to pierce. But the number one reason, the absolute peak of this power, is not a shield you hold. It's a terrifyingly simple action you take, an action that announces to the universe that the game is already over. That terrifyingly simple action you take is to laugh. Picture this. The final confrontation. The forces of chaos have gathered. The ground is shaking, and some ancient demon is roaring, fully expecting to see fear in your eyes. It expects panic, doubt, that frantic search for an escape route. That reaction is its fuel. That is its power. But a Capricorn doesn't hand it that. Instead, there's just a quiet, knowing smile, a soft, unshakable laugh, like they're already in on the ending. This isn't the laugh of madness. It's the sound of absolute certainty. It's the laugh of a master strategist who has already calculated every possible move and can see the checkmate 10 steps ahead. It's the sound of someone who has prepared, disciplined themselves, and strategized so deeply that honestly they know the battle was won long before it ever officially began. That single sound becomes the most terrifying thing in the universe to a creature that feeds on fear. It's a signal that its primary weapon just failed. Suddenly it's not looking at a victim anymore. It's staring at a victor who only showed up to watch the inevitable outcome play out. When a Capricorn laughs in the face of impossible odds, the demons take note. Every single time. They know someone has already won. That laugh announces to the universe that the game is, and always was, over. And that is the power. A fortress of discipline, crowned with the quiet confidence of a battle already won. But this isn't just about one zodiac sign. This is a strategic blueprint. And now I'm going to give you that blueprint and show you exactly how to build this fortress of discipline in your own life. So, what is the core of this entire strategic blueprint? Here's the truth. Those 20 traits we've just uncovered, from their unbreakable promises to that defiant laughter in the face of impossible odds, are not random personality quirks. They're a deliberately engineered defense system. A fortress built to repel chaos, dismantle deception, and render despair completely powerless. And the master key, whether you're a Capricorn or not, comes down to one radical shift in perspective. Stop seeing discipline as restriction. Start seeing it for what it really is. The architecture of power, the tool you use to build your own reality, your own inner fortress. This is the work we do here. We decode the hidden powers of all the signs. If you're ready to master your own celestial code, subscribe and activate the bell. You've just seen the truth about Capricorn. You won't want to miss what we reveal next. And let me know in the comments, which sign's secrets should we expose?